It's so easy to just think that if you're organized, that also means you're uptight. That also means you're type A. If you're, unorganized, that also means you're like scrappy and lazy, but you're a dreamer, maybe. That stuff is all crap. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Erin, and this channel is all about personal development for female entrepreneurs. And in today's episode, what I want to talk about is how I personally became more organized. I honestly used to identify as someone who was just fly by the cuff, easygoing, go with the flow. And whilst I still consider that to be a part of my personality, I realized that that really wasn't getting me anywhere. I used to think that organization was something that felt really restrictive and was something that was going to crush my creativity. But as a matter of fact, when I decided that I was going to become more organized, it was actually the opposite. I was more creative and I had more free time to do things that I wanted to do, and therefore I was much happier. And so what I wanted to do in this particular video was I wanted to take you through all of the ways, big and small, that I have become more organized personally. So if you did like this video, I would very much appreciate it if you gave it a big thumbs up. And of course, if you do hear thumping in the background, my neighbors are deciding to have their own version of the Olympics. So there's that. All right, so my number one thing was that I did monthly planning. Now I know this seems a little bit basic, and I have created an entire video on this, but I kind of used to just not really take the time to plan my months in advance, and I'd kind of just be planning as I'd go, whether that be the week or the day. But what I actually do at the beginning of every single month is I sit down and I plan out everything. Now this process can take a couple of hours, but trust me, it saves so much time throughout the rest of the month. So I'm not going to go into full detail because, like I said, I do have an entire video on this, which I will leave linked on the screen and in the description below. But basically what I do is I sit down for a couple of hours, like I said, at the end or the start of every single month. And basically I plan out everything. I plan out my personal life stuff. I also plan out all of the things in my business, all of my content, all of the projects that I'm going to work on, right down to even the posts that I'm going to post in my Game Changer Collective membership each week. So I literally plan every single minute detail of what I have to do to achieve my goals in business and in life, which just leaves there to be no room for questioning of what I should be doing throughout the month. And I don't need to be scrounging around trying to figure out what to do. I know it's just sitting there on my plans every single day. I know exactly what I need to do to take action. Now, a big part of that is that I always keep saying I married my calendar. Like I said, I never used to be someone who would identify to be organized. To me, that seemed... Apparently now motorbikes are a part of the Olympics too, which I'm not mad about, but it is kind of annoying when I'm filming. What I was saying was that I used to be someone, like I said, that I didn't really identify being organized. That whole like type A thing, it just seemed too restricting for me. But I kind of got called out by one of my coaches. And one thing that I took away from that was just being super organized with my calendar. I really don't find it difficult to be organized now because it's a very simple concept to me. I'm just really organized by planning with my calendar. And then I just stick to the things that are on my calendar. Like in theory, it should not be difficult. If you're super organized, even if you have a job and you're trying to build a business, or you have kids and your time is limited, you can still be super organized. I realize the difficult part is, actually sticking to the things that are on your calendar because there's distractions, there's fears. But if you can just, as much as you possibly can, train yourself to someone to be organized with a calendar and then just stick to the things that are on the calendar, you will get so much more done and be so much more organized. The second thing that I did to become more organized was I literally organized my stuff. This seems like, again, a really simple thing, but you have no idea how much easier life is when everything has a place. Now, I'm talking about physical items here. Just as an example with hair ties. I used to be someone who could never find a bobby pin and never find a hair tie. And I would just waste so much time looking for these things, looking for my keys, looking for the lids to containers. Like, I just spent so much time looking for things because I was so disorganized. What I've really been doing lately is decluttering and organizing my stuff. Like, I have a little travel clear bag with all of my hair ties, all of my scrunchies, all of my bobby pins, and every single time I take one out of my hair, I trained myself to go put it back in the bag rather than just throwing it on the ground like I used to. And honestly, with my cables in my desk, I showed you all of my organization when I showed you my desk recently. just having the right cable in the right space saves me so much time when I'm trying to get my webcam and get my microphone when I'm trying to do a Zoom call or something. Literally just organizing your stuff. Again, it's one of those tasks that you keep putting off and putting off, but once it's done and you can try to keep it that way, it makes life so much easier and way less stressful. I mean, how stressful is it when you are trying to rush for a call, rush to go somewhere, and you can't find something? Take that pressure off and just spend some time organizing your stuff. Another thing along the lines of this concept of organizing my stuff is that, and this was something that I actually learnt through lockdown, was just having a spare of things that I use regularly. I found myself always like running to the shops, and again, this is such a waste of time, whether it be to get like body wash or like tampons or cooking oil, like all these random things that I use like really regularly, either every day or, you know, once a month. But I always found myself running out of items that I always used. And so what I've started doing lately is just having a spare. Now I realize not everyone has space to have a spare of every item they regularly use, but the things that you know you're most likely going to run out of, whether it be, again, like toothpaste or a body wash. I'm not saying you want to stockpile things, but just having spares, having a spare notebook, having some spare pens. If you can, definitely having spare things just saves so much time and saves so much energy for you needing to rush around and go get those things in a panic when they actually do run out. So again, it's not about stockpiling, it's not about over excessively buying, but just the things that you know that you're likely to run out of, having spares of things. And another thing is as well, and I know this isn't a channel by any means about cooking, but also just having some spare ingredients for things that I can easily whip up, like some frozen foam meats and some coconut cream and some curry paste and rice, like things that are just easy, because I quite often find myself at the end of the day really tired and then I don't want to cook. But if there are those very, very simple ingredients, I can just whip something up. I mean, it's not difficult to like make a curry or like a bolognese or something. And again, that's just the healthier option than ordering. It's the cheaper option than ordering. And as entrepreneurs, you know, sometimes we just have those busy days. So that's kind of a 2-for-1. I know this isn't about saving money or being healthy, but just having spares of things has helped me to be so much more organized with all of those elements. Now, this is a big one, and honestly, I didn't even realize that I did this until I was doing a live in my Simply Business group coaching program and teaching the girls all the little tiny ways that I'm really, really organized and get so much stuff done. And what I said was, you know, when I'm chunking out and planning in my calendar, I actually overestimate how long a task is going to take me. For example, this particular video, you know, it might take me about, let's say, 20 minutes to film, because I'm assuming that it's only going to be 10 to sort of 12 minutes long. So maybe it takes me about 20 minutes to actually film. I'll probably give that about half an hour in my calendar. And then obviously there'll be extra time for setting up, which I'll talk about in just a second. But I always overestimate things because I find that a lot of people find some sort of sense of self-righteousness. I don't know, it's like the hustle culture, I guess, of like blocking their calendar with heaps of tiny little tasks. And that's not really the way that I like to do things. I like to really at max do like 3 to 4 things a day, you know, depending on the task. Of course, sometimes I have maybe 5 or 6 client calls, but I really only like to do like 3 to 4 major things a day. And I'm going to give those way more time than they actually need, because sometimes I do get distracted. Sometimes maybe a client call does go longer, or George comes in and distracts me and wants to have a conversation about something that he saw on Twitter. Like, those things are just a part of life. People are going to distract you. You're gonna get distracted. Maybe you get hungry halfway through a task and you're like, I have to make myself a peanut butter sandwich now. And that's just a part of it. So I always overestimate how long things are going to actually take me. And that just helps me to, again, not continuously be pushing back tasks and getting behind and behind and behind and behind. Because that's how it used to be when I was working in an office. I feel like tasks always fell behind, and it was just this sinking feeling like I could never catch up. I never feel like that anymore, because I simply just allow myself enough time to actually get the task completed. On that note as well, like I said, I only really like to do 3 to 4 things a day, but within that, what I actually do is I prefer to have day focuses. So rather than, say, for example, having all of my client calls spread out throughout the week, I only coach on Mondays and Tuesdays. Reason being is I can just simply get myself into that coaching mindset. I don't need to think or worry or feel guilty about YouTube, about my courses, about programs, about administration, about building my personal personal brand. I'm simply just Erin the coach those days. Similarly, on Wednesdays and sometimes on the weekend, I'm Erin the YouTuber, and I'm filming YouTube videos. I'm in that like fun, like bring my energy up a bit, 10,000 knots because I'm talking to myself vibe, and it's just a part of, I guess, being more productive, not having to switch between tasks. They do say that when you're switching between tasks and the tasks are really different from one another, the reset time is actually quite big. That's why also getting distracted is so detrimental to productivity. So that's why, as much as I possibly can, now I know this isn't going to work for everyone, especially if you do have a 9-to-5 job, but for those of you who do have the luxury of being able to kind of work on your business full time, actually putting things into day focuses, like you might have one business administration day, one content creation day, one course or a program creation day. You might even have a catch-up day. I usually have Fridays off, so like a chill day, but whatever, you can plan your particular calendar to whatever the tasks you need to get done in your business are. As much as you possibly can, trying to get into the energy of those projects and not flicking between things too much helps me to stay way more organized. And number 6 is actually using the setup technique. Again, I kind of spoke about this just before, but I also have created an entire video on this, which I will leave linked in all the places. But basically what the setup technique is, you've probably heard it before. It's just things like meal prepping. You know, I've actually started choosing my entire week's worth of outfits at the beginning of the week, but also little things like when it comes to, say, filming a YouTube video, I'll actually set up my camera, set up my lights, get everything set up perfect before I say go off and maybe even have breakfast and then do my makeup, because I just find breaking tasks down a little bit, make them a little less intimidating and, let's face it, draining in some circumstances. Like if I have to set up my whole camera and then I have to like change my vibe quickly and like get into the mood to film, it doesn't actually feel that great, and I feel like it takes me so much longer. If I like quickly come set up my camera when I'm already in my like pajama mood, and then I allow myself to get ready, put my music on and get myself in that great vibe, then I'm just sitting down. It almost feels like somebody else has done it for me, because rather than setting up the camera and then sitting down to film, I'm sitting down to film and the camera's already set up. Now I know that might seem a little confusing. I explain it in much more detail in that other video, so definitely go check that one out. But just like breaking tasks down can allow them to feel smaller, or preparing yourself for tasks in advance can allow them to feel a little less intimidating. You know, the oldest trick in the book is like, if you want to motivate yourself to go to the gym in the morning, make sure you've got your gym clothes and your runners out so that you can just pick them up, put them on in the morning and head out the door. So it's limiting the amount of time that you've got to talk yourself out of doing the task. And then the final one is, like I said in the beginning, you know, I never used to be someone who identified as organized, and that was extremely detrimental to my organization. I always say, like, you are what you say you are. I mean, I didn't invent that, but I always say it because that's just the truth. If you're someone who's telling yourself constantly that you're unorganized, that you're lazy, that you can never get stuff done, you are literally writing up a self-fulfilling prophecy with those words. You've got to change the way you see yourself. Start literally telling yourself, I'm more organized. Change your relationship with what you think an organized person looks like. I still consider myself to be like a scrappy, innovative dreamer, but that doesn't mean that I can't be also rigid and organized and get stuff done. I think it's just so easy, and this is something I talk about a lot and I have a real problem with actually. It's so easy to just think that if you're organized, that also means you're uptight, that also means you're type A. If you're, you know, unorganized, that also means you're like scrappy and lazy, but you're a dreamer maybe. That stuff is all crap. Like, there are certain personality types for sure that maybe have a few of those characteristics in common, but you can still be a big dreamer who lives in this like airy fairy fun world and be super strict and organized with your time. These particular things are not mutually exclusive to one another. So just start to work on changing your identity, changing how you see yourself. You can be whoever you want to be and show up in the world however you want and still be organized. As I said, it's not a mutual exclusivity thing to one particular type of person. Every single person can benefit from being more organized. If you follow these particular things that I have told you today, for sure, those are the tools and techniques and tactics. But at the end of the day, if you just start reaffirming to yourself each and every single day, I'm productive, I'm organized, I get stuff done, I work through my fears, these are the things that are ultimately going to happen. You are literally creating your brain to to be structured as that particular type of person. I'm gonna leave another video linked below. It's not one of mine, it's actually from Tom Bailey at Impact Theory. He did an interview with, the guy's name actually escapes me now, but they talk about how your language and the words that you use to describe yourself literally create your destiny, and it was such a powerful video for me, and I really think it'll help you get more organized, along with these other tools that I've shared with you today. So if you did enjoy this video, I would very much appreciate it if you gave it a big thumbs up. And always, I want to hear from you. What is your #1 rule for organization or tool for organization? Like, what helps you stay organized? Make sure you share with the rest of the community, because I so appreciate when you do, and I'm sure everyone else does too. All right, that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.